Yo. Welcome back to the show here on the
Yeah.
Crash Out League TV. We coming at you live here at 5, episode number 7,
Yes,
here
sir.
in week 5. It's your host, A-Dub, and I'm with my partner in crime, my boy Manny over there. Today, we're going to deliver all type of content for you guys, update on you guys once again what happened in the previous week, what's coming up in the league this week, everything that happened, including upsets, maybe big time games, maybe surprising games. You never know what can happen in Crash Out League. But
That's right.
we're
Yep.
gonna go ahead and get started, man. Go ahead and take off for us.
Let's do it, man. Hey, listen, we got some fantasy recaps for y'all. So we'll go ahead and check out the scores in the Crash Out League. A-Dub, pull those up for us, please, sir, as you do every single week. Let's check out some of these
Mm-hmm.
scores that we got around the league. So you can see first game up top, Smooth Criminal gets the win over Team Buckham. 130-107. Team Fabo picks up a W, 141-82 against Team DMV Bombers. Only able to put up 86 this week. Most City Menace gets to 500. They put up 140 against Coach against Run It Back, who only put up 104. And we have Team Luck not able to pick up the win, going 107.68 against Team Shake and Bake. Got themselves 113. That one came down to the wire. We'll talk about that one in a little bit. And then Mills Mafia not able to get the win, now sliding to 2-2, 103.4 against a nasty 139 with God Bless Comerica. So those are your scores for the Crash Out League in this week. Big time games, up and down, all over the place. But we had games of the week as Team Luck versus Shake and Bake and Mills Mafia versus God Bless Comerica. We'll just talk about I had Team Luck winning this one. And man, I mean, it came down to the wire. As you see there, they certainly had themselves a battle. Stroud putting up 23, was definitely a big time helping point. But I think the biggest difference was that the 49er defense put up 26 points. I mean, that is what certainly got Shake and Bake to win here. Able to get to 3-1 on the season now. Certainly putting together a lot of really good wins. But that defense is what gave him that extra edge. And yeah, I mean, hey, came down to the wire, 113 to 107, but Shake and Bake pulls out the W.
Yeah, I mean, you can't call a game any better than this. It's the type of games that you want to have week in and week out to sit here and talk about because that means that both coaches came in with a game plan, and at the end of the day, only one team could unfortunately win. So somebody has to go home with an L. But you can
Mm-hmm.
really tell these coaches put in a lot of time and effort, and it just so happened that Team Shake and Bake picked the right defense this week, which is the 49ers, and
Yep.
who they went up against a struggling Patriots team and was able to come out with a lot of turnovers and a lot of plays on defense to get them to 26 points. So shout out to team Shake and Bake and Coach MB.
Yeah, starting to get some good wins on the season now. We'll go to our upset of the week that we had, and that was DMV Bombers versus Mo City Menace. Now, this is just not the start that DMV Bombers wanted to the season. Now sitting at 0-4. I'm sorry. I think we had
A typo, yeah.
we had a little bit of a type. We had
We
the
got
DMV Bombers going against Team Fabo,
Team Fabo.
and Team Fabo 141, the most points put up this week. I mean, that was a dominating win. And yeah, just not the start DMV is looking for in this one. Hey, Dub, you had DMV winning this one, man. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I always try to root for the underdog. I try to root for the little guy per se, if I say so myself. Here in this game, like I said in the previous weeks, Team Fabo has shown they're able to put up the numbers. So I chose them to be the big dog here in this
Mm-hmm.
fight. But I thought Team DMV Bombers looking to make playoffs, it would be kind of rough to make it starting
Yeah.
out the season 0-4. So I thought they would
Mm-hmm.
have a little bit more bite to their bark for this week, but they still haven't shown us anything and have yet to climb over 100 points and continue to prove the coaches that said in previous weeks that this team is going to be the puncher bag of the league.
Yeah. A struggle, but certainly still time for things to get turned around. Hey, it's a long, long season, so a couple trades, maybe a couple good waiver wire pickup, and you're right back in this thing. But yeah, still trying to reach that triple digit mark now. A-Dub, this is the part of the show that a lot of chit chat starts happening. We get our most
Mm-hmm.
reactions to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I want you to give me your crash out of the week.
Okay, my crash out of the week. I'm just going ahead and run it back with this organization and this coach, just to remind everybody out there, a crash out of the week is some player, some organization that just did not show up how everybody thought that they would. It was a
Mm.
disappointment this week, and I'm gonna go with Mills Mafia this
Mm.
week. It's what can you say? It's a defending champ coming into a game and not executing as good as they should be. They
Mm-hmm.
should be able to compete with a 139 put with God bless Comerica. They should be able to compete with that. And then a lot of people say like, whoa, 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 how can you shoot for that high? But this organization went for 150 two
Mm.
times in a row in the beginning of the season,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And for them to come out here and barely get over 100 when they only got 77 last week was not the bounce back that I was expecting for them to have. So I'm going to choose them my crash out of the week because of that. And also the trade that they made to go get Garrett Wilson has yet to help them.
Hey, Dub, they called me a madman. After the first episode, they called me a madman. They said, Manny, you're washed. Manny, you have no clue what you're talking about. They called me a madman, hey, Dub. Now, listen, as we see, if you can go back to all the scores of the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Mills Mafia would have only beaten one other team this week.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's not so much like it was a big time performance, but they just went up against a team that had it was their day. And some
Mm-hmm.
weeks you just can't control that. This, like you talk about, not the response that you're looking for. And now sliding down to fifth, there's not it's not time to panic, just quite yet. Like I talked with DMV Bombers, there's a lot of football to be played. It's a long season, but
Mm-hmm.
you want to keep going up in the season, and for DMV Bombers, there's no lower you can go. The only way to go is up,
Oh,
right?
yes,
But
sir.
unfortunately, right now, for Mills Mafia, there's a lot of space to go down, and
Mm-hmm.
so we'll see how the schedule looks and how he's getting going. Patrick Mahomes looks, good, but it's not it's not the greatness that a lot of people expect from him. And yeah, sure
Yeah.
enough, that swap uh, sends away Malik Neighbors, and he is certainly a certified dog up there in New York. So,
So my question, once again, like I asked you last week,
mm-hmm.
um, it was the first two games a fluke, or was these latest two games a fluke? Talk to me, Manny. Like you said, they called you a
They call me
madman.
a
They said you
madman.
was crazy to go against the champ, but the champ is not going down swinging right now. Like you said, he didn't just go up somebody who put up major points. He was the second lowest scorer this week after being the first lowest scorer last week.
Yeah,
Talk to me.
yeah, yeah. Hey, listen. All right. Truthfully, he's a proven winner.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say because you don't put up 150 by accident.
That's a fact. Twice
You
in a
don't you,
row.
you don't put up 150 twice in a row on accident.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've seen two good games. We've seen two bad games.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to jump to a conclusion at this point to say this was a fluke or that was a fluke. So I can't jump right now, but I'll tell you this, Dub. Another performance like this next week, and those
Mm-hmm.
first two start seeming like they were just a flash in the pan.
Come on now.
So
It's it's
yeah,
kind of crazy, with all the chatter going on in the league. Everybody, want to go at the defending champ because they the ones holding the title and everything, and everybody doing their best. And it just seems like maybe Coach Justin Mills Mafia had lost a leg from last season. Usually championship teams, that's what happens to them. But next year, maybe they sign some new players that's not working. Maybe they lose some players because they earned their contract that year and they got bigger pay somewhere else. So
yeah. I mean,
right now, it just look
certainly,
like they fall flat on their ass.
certainly one thing that was a huge factor is the fact that last year Mills Mafia was able to pick up CMC, who had
Mm-hmm.
statistically one of the best years in football. Um,
Mm-hmm.
now he's just not getting that same kind of return on investment right now. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it goes one of two ways. It goes, man, those first two games, it's just because guys were still getting their footing under them, and these guys were able to put up major points because they are already a little more ahead of where everybody's at in the season, things like that. Or you say, look, they're not in midseason form yet. Once we really start playing some football later on in the year, when we get into the December months, it's like, okay, no, we're looking to really get some points right now, and so we'll see how that goes. But for right now, they call me a madman.
Okay, let's go back to the CMC comment. Are you
Mm-hmm.
saying Coach Just is only a winning, problematic coach when he has a top pick to be able to grab somebody like CMC and he can't win with a mediocre A to high B caliber type of player? Or is that what we're saying right now?
No,
Because he
no,
doesn't
no.
have CMC this year
Right,
and it's not going too well like it was last
right. Well, if he had CMC this year, it'd be going even worse because he's not on the field,
year.
right? So, but no, it's not so much that, because not only did last year was Coach just having CMC with the second pick in the draft, he himself also was extremely active on the waiver wire and was constantly switching up his team and was really involved in his matchups. And again, not to say that he's not that this year. It's just one of those things where you're not yet having the same return on investment. Whereas CMC last year, from the get go, he was going and he was getting you the 25, he was getting you the 30. Whereas again, this year, he has yet to see that guy that's always going to blossom for him and give him the 30 or the 25. And so again, it's one of two things. It could be that they're still trying to get their footing under him, and once we get into like those midseason games, quarterbacks feel trustworthy enough and they feel great enough and they're able to throw the ball well enough, and I'll just talk about the situation in Kansas City, right? I mean, there's a lot of injuries going on right now in Kansas City, but maybe that rookie connection that he's going to have with Xavier Worthy starts blossoming big time, and he ends up being a huge piece. And now Mahomes is putting up that 30, 35 points that we know that he can, because again, they're going to start playing some really tough games over there in KC because everybody wants to come for the crown. Anytime that you're at the top of the mountain, you got a target on your back. And sure enough, people are going to start coming at them. So you're going to get their best shot every single time. So again, things can certainly pick up. And so not room to panic, not time to panic at all right now for Coach Just. He's a great coach. He's had a lot of success in this league. But again, just not the return on investment that he got out of CMC that last
Okay, okay.
year. Yeah. Yep. Now,
I feel what you're saying.
after we talked about our crash out of the week, let's start looking at these power rankings. Pull them up, please, and let's see how people are sitting right now. As we talked about, Coach Justice's opponent for this week, still the only team undefeated, 4-0, has the second waiver wire position. So that might be a big time addition if he says and decides that he needs it. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're 4-0. The team's rocking. Keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to Coach Mike on that one. Points 4, 5, 27. Woo! That is some major, major points. He is getting up there. Shake and Bake, 3-1. The only team, 3-1. He is above 500, playing some really good games. And then this is where fantasy gets really interesting because you have such a huge pack that is right in the middle that you can. It's dogfights all over the place. It is dogfights from 3 all the way down to 8. And you just need, if you're in this middle pack here, you just need to get a win and you need a couple people to drop out and to lose. And man, you might find yourself sitting at 4th. You might find yourself sitting at 3rd. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how we are at this point, right? But again, it's all about the games that you play. It's how many points you can put up. Because again, you talked about this in the first episode, A-Dub. It doesn't matter your record at the end. If you're tied with somebody, we go to points to see who gets into the playoffs. So you got to keep your foot on the gas pedal no matter what. And then as we talked about, 9, Team Fabo picks up his first win. He has points of 486. So right now, if you look at it, he would be on points alone. He would be above Coach Cam, Coach J. Gibb, and Coach Luck. So he would be sitting at the 6th spot, sitting right outside that playoff matchup. So again, points are a big time thing. He's certainly hoping to get a win and build off this momentum. And DV Bombers still trying to get it going at 0-4.
Yeah, just keep going throughout the season, keep seeing how it's played out. Team God bless Comerica with Coach Mike is dominating right now. All these 2-2 teams continue to play, see how the season go out. But as you can see, this is a perfect image for you to start looking at early to see if playoffs start today and we have all these teams at 2-2. How would I get in? Those points, just like Manny said, is how you get in. So go in every week and try to execute and be as efficient as you can. No matter if you win or lose, you never know if that loss that you got and those points that you accumulated is going to help you in the end to get in the playoffs. Now, speaking on a coach who's in this 2-2 area right here, let's go ahead and bring in Coach Luck from Team Luck. And welcome a man with full graces. Welcome to the show, Coach. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me.
Nah, no doubt, no doubt. We really love what your organization is doing, everything, what it represents.
Losing.
So we just wanted to bring you here on the show. Speaking of what you just said, we just gonna get straight to it. Last week when we interviewed you, you say you wasn't worried about this team. This wasn't a team that you stressing enough about. This was a team that you just like, I'm gonna line my guys up and we gonna go out there and we're gonna dominate. So I just want to know, what's the reflection? What are you thinking after the game? How did you handle it?
So he definitely made me eat my words, He beat me fair and square. But I did a little bit more research into it. And looking at this team has scored 413 points over the course of the year. His points against, 412. That is good enough for the least amount of points scored against his organization in the entire league. So this man is skating by the skin of his teeth. And so, if if that's how it's going to be all year and he ends up winning, oh my goodness, he needs to buy a lotto ticket now and hit the casinos now. And shoot, I need to be taking gambling advice from him, to be honest with you, because this man is on fire right now. And yeah, so I still do not think that he's a true contender in the grand scheme of things. You can't win every week. It's just not going to happen. These undefeated teams are going to lose eventually. It's just any given day, right? They made a
Right.
movie about it. Any given Sunday, you know.
Mm.
And that being said, I just got this week. I got. I definitely could have
Mm.
played some guys who could have altered my chances of winning. So I made some mistakes coaching, but that just even goes to show that my team truly is put together much better if I can still just barely miss the mark of a W by that much, when if I just made a few subtle adjustments, I would have easily cleared him. Easily.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I know I said a
Okay.
lot there, but it's been on my mind a lot, Coach. I'm still thinking about that 26 by that Niners defense, and it's ingrained in my skull now. Every time I close my eyes, I see it.
Understandable. Understandable.
Lucky, you talked about this one was very close, and it did come down to the wire. And it's always going to be those few couple changes that you could have made that would have been the difference, right? But I want to ask you, was there one particular matchup that you just plain and simply got wrong, that you were like, man, you know what, this guy should have been in the position instead?
Yeah, I think honestly, so sorry. The one that I think right there, honestly, that got me the worst was, I pointed out Matt Prater
Mm,
as potentially having a big game. Commanders team that many had shown that they could move the ball against, at least get in field goal range. And the Arizona Cardinals could not do anything but that. And it really screwed me there. 2 points from a kicker. I mean, you're not always expecting double digits, but two? Are you
Mm.
kidding me?
Mm.
I'm not gonna win fantasy matchups like that. But other than that, I guess Joe Burrow. I guess I should have gone with Jordan Love. I mean, at the
mm,
beginning of the game, I felt like I was sitting pretty, riding high. Joe Burrow was lighting up the Panthers, and Love was struggling. And then by the end of the game, Burrow only has 16 and Jordan Love has 28. So, I mean, definitely some decisions that could have gone either way. I think that one's a toss up, but like you said, Manny, I think the Matt Prater one is clear and obvious. But we've addressed that. We have addressed that already.
Mm.
okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds
Okay.
good, Coach.
So after taking this L, I know it sounds like a broken record. Keep talking about it, but after taking this L for the previous week, going into the next week, what is the message that you have to say to maybe the previous coach or the rest of the league from now
Um, I I just hope, they better hope that I keep making the wrong decisions. They better hope
on?
that I just keep starting the wrong guys, because when I look at my roster, I just see guys who can go for 15 at least on average on a consistent basis, and it just comes down to me picking those right guys. I was not disappointed with how my team performed. It just wasn't enough. It
Mm.
just wasn't enough. But like I said, we've made adjustments. We picked up a new kicker and new defense, both top five in the league. So hopefully we won't have these problems anymore. And hopefully, maybe I can get a 20 plus performance from one of those kickers or defense.
Yeah. Now, Coach, I want to ask you, right? The biggest thing is you got to let this one go, right? And look on to next week. So, what's your biggest focus going into next week's matchup? And you talked about the change up in kicker and in defense. Is there anything else that you're probably eyeing as you go down that way, or are you going to let your opponent figure that out when game time comes?
Honestly, yeah. Like I said, kicker defense are definitely the first two we picked up. Seibert from Washington and the Denver defense, but we're definitely going with Jordan Love this time around instead of Joe Burr. Um, Especially with the matchup that Burrow has. But just seeing what Jordan Love showed me last week, he even if he starts off bad, he's going to still fight to the end, and I need that. But other than that, I'm seeing Kittle and Bijan are questionable here, and Bijan's got a game on Thursday, so if he
Mm.
if he can't go, I'm definitely probably going to have to throw Jacobs up into that RB1, and you could either see Jordan Addison or Christian Kirk. I feel like it's a safe bet with either one. Might maybe want to go Kirk against the Indy defense because that Jets defense can be pretty stout at times, especially
Mm-hmm.
with Sauce Gardner out there and company. So
Indeed.
those are a few changes I'm looking at as of right now that I'm eyeballing, Coach.
Okay, good to
All right,
hear.
all right.
Before we get you off this show, we want to make it perfectly clear of what we spoke on about your game for last week. Are we saying that Coach MB from Shake and Bake is skating by luck week in and week out because he's catching teams when they at their worst?
He's talking about going to buy lotto tickets at the end of the season. So you
That's
got
what
to be
I
lucky
heard.
to go win some
That's what
lotto
I
tickets,
heard,
right?
Manny. Now I just
So
want to make sure
I
I'm
would
not
like to
tripping,
clear
Manny.
this.
You know
Yes,
what I
absolutely.
mean?
I would like to clear this as well.
I mean, all I'm not gonna say specific. I mean, those are just my words. That's my kind of takeaway from it. When they
Mm-hmm.
ask you, "Hey, class, what's your takeaway from this book from reading that excerpt?" But from reading the stats here, he has the lowest points for in the league next to Team DMV Bama's who is riddled with injuries, right? So we can't, no knock on him there. So I would say Shake and Bake at that point then maybe has the lowest in the league points for.
Mm-hmm.
But not only does he have the lowest points for, he also has the lowest points scored against him. Now, that is something to be said about the coaches he's playing that week. Maybe they could be
Ooh,
doing something
true,
different to have,
true.
not granted him a 3-1, record through 4 weeks, but it's still showing that he has only outscored his opponents by merely 1 point and some change. And if
Mm-hmm.
if that's if that's what it's gonna be all year, then I wish him good luck because I'm not buying it. I don't believe in it. I'm not.
Mm. Okay, okay. Well, we appreciate you coming into the
Coach
show,
Lucky,
Coach.
thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, man. Always giving us your motivating words and things like that. Hey, good luck
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of the season, Coach, and we'll see what next week looks like for you.
Yeah,
Thank
good luck
y'all.
to you.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all for bringing me on here. I love the work that y'all do. Content's always great. Looking forward to this next episode.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
that.
Luck. Have a good one.
Thank
All
y'all.
right,
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
you know.
Hey, Dub. I don't know about you, but when Lucky starts talking, I'm ready to go through a brick wall.
Oh,
I'm
come
ready to go
on
through a
now.
brick wall.
Come on now. Coach know what he talking about. Coach be talking game now. Every time we got him on here last week, we wasn't able to show
Mm-hmm.
that content from last week, but he had the same type of energy, guys, that he had this week after an L that he had last week coming off of a W. That's the type of coaches that you want on your staff. Those are the
Yeah.
type of coaches that you want to root for when it comes to who gonna win it at the end. A coach who's not afraid to speak their mind, tell you what's on it. And today, what was on his mind? Coach MB and Shake and Bake is a fluke team. They're not a real contender. They're catching people at the wrong time, at a
Mm.
bad time,
Mm.
and still are barely getting a win at the end of the day. Words from Coach, not from me. Words from Coach. But once again, like you said, Let's strap the fuck in. I'm ready to go through a wall, baby.
Let's see what this next week looks like for Coach Luck. And so now we move on to our, as we talked about Coach Luck about his next week matchup. Let's go ahead and look up our next week's matchup, or this week's matchup of the week and upsets alert. We look at our matchup of the week. A lot of good games around the league right now. A lot of good games. What are you thinking, Adele? Who do you got as your game of the week?
I'm gonna go right at the coach that we was just talking about.
Mm.
This coach is gonna have to show up and make Coach Luck eat his words, show him that he's definitely a championship contending team. Let's go down here to Team fucking win, Team Shake and Bake.
Mm.
This will be my game of the week. I love what Coach Cam is doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the 2-2 fool you. Don't let the losing record of the past 2 weeks being 0-2. Don't let that fool you. He's just been playing hell of a coaches back-to-back weeks, putting up the highest points in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with Coach Cam here with Team of the Week. He continues to show that he's very active here in the fantasy league by diving into the waiver wire, picking up free agencies, paying attention to the matchups so he could go ahead and compete to the highest caliber that he can. And speaking on that, he picked up Sam Darnold this week, who had a hell of a week against Green Bay last week, and even hell of a weeks in previous week. And once again, he made another move in his defensive department. I don't know if you noticed, he had Miami last week. Now he's going with Baltimore this week. So
big time.
Coach is making hell of a moves, picking up Deontay Wicks, who went crazy last week, getting 10 targets from Jordan Love last week. So that could be a potential upside for him as well. I think Coach Cam is the perfect, and I'm talking about, Manny, look at me. Look at me. I think Coach Cam is the perfect opponent for Coach MB.
Okay.
And I say that because week in and week out, in these first 4 weeks, Coach Cam has competed with the top teams, and not only that, put up major numbers that could beat potentially half of the league week in and week out. And you know who's a part of that half that he could have beat week in and week out? Coach MB. Every single week. I think this is a consistent coach that Coach Luck was saying that Coach MB should be scared of, because he's not going to fold. He's not going to show you that he can make the wrong decisions enough for it to be a low-scoring game and for you to win. Coach MB going to have to show up and play this week.
Yep.
But I think Coach Cam gets it here for my game of the week.
No, I mean, that's for sure. Hey, listen, Coach Cam's been in some dogfights. But he's made some good pickups. I like that Sam Darnold pickup. He's looking like he's on fire right now, especially when he has, a receiver like Justin Jefferson to go up and get that thing. So I like this matchup too. But I'm gonna go with a different one. Just switch it up a little bit. If you want to go down just a little bit, stop that right there. You already see it. Mo City Menace and Team Luck. Now, one thing that we know about both these coaches like to talk. They like to get after it, especially in the chat. They like getting back and forth with each other. And we heard Coach Lucky just talk right now. We've heard Coach preach on this show before. A couple weeks ago, he was talking. So, hey, both teams, 2-2. We talked about it's one of those dogfight games where you're in the middle. This certainly helps when you try to get that record above and try to just separate yourself from the rest of the pack. There's going to be some decisions for both teams to make, for both coaches to make in terms of their lineups, who they really want to have out there, and things like that. Namely, like Coach Lucky just talked about, Bijan, questionable. They play on Thursday, so we'll see, what the report is as we get closer to that day. Only really Wednesday to figure out if he's going to play or not. So we'll see how that goes. But I like this one. Both coaches definitely like to get after it in the talking phase, but can certainly back it up on the field of play, yeah, this one's going to be my game of the week.
And which coach are you going with when it comes to
Oh,
this?
my goodness. Listen, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. Give me Team Luck in this one. Give me Team Luck in this one. Give me Team Luck in this one. Already projected to win by 7, but it's going to be close no matter what, no matter which way it goes. Again, he talked about how the Cardinals weren't really able to do much last week against the Commanders. So if Kyler Murray doesn't have another good game and Jordan Love gives him another 20 ball, this one could get nasty. But hey, Derrick Henry's been a force to be reckoned with out there in Baltimore. So
True.
a lot of good matchups on this one.
You know, I just want to remind you, man, for the sake of Coach Preach.
Of course.
Coach Preach has put up the top points week in and week out.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah.
The only reason why he's 2-2 and not 4-0 is because he has played other top performers in this league consistently.
Right.
And he was able to go through that 4-game gauntlet and come out 2-2 while still week in and week out putting up the most points. This week, I believe he put up the second most points. Last week, I think he put up the number 1 most points. Previous week, he was in the top 5. I love Coach Luck. I'm ready to run through a wall just like you. But I don't got my memory correctly, I have yet to see Coach Luck reach the top 3 in points in any week so far.
Gotcha.
So I just wanted to remind you what he's facing.
No, hey, listen, I understand, but one thing you got to remember, it doesn't matter what you did last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. You got to show up this one again. So you can hang your hat on all you want as, bro, I've been top 3 in scoring every week. Oh, okay, congratulations. Did you win this week? Well, no, I didn't have a good week. Well, sir, now your record is 2-3. So, that's you gotta understand. You gotta understand. It is week in and week out here in the Crash Out League. It doesn't matter what you did last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You gotta show up each and every week. So I'm gonna go with Team Luck in this one. We just had him on. He's a great coach, doing some great looks, and he's aggressive. He cut his kicker. He said, "I'm getting a new defense." He's ready to go win this thing when it's time to go win it. So I like that one. I like Luck in this one. And we'll switch now over to another thing that we like to talk about a lot, upset alerts. So upsets, we're calling out any underdog team here in the Crash Out League that could pull off that win, that could maybe even project their season to a new height, and just give them all the momentum that they need. You said you're ready for this one. A-Dub, tell me who you got.
Hey, hear me out. Let's get straight to it.
It's a team. It's a hear me out.
Team Fabo versus God Bless Comerica. Now, look.
David and Goliath?
I understand. Mike is 4-0 on the season. Mike has put up major points throughout the season. I understand that. But Team Fabo, fresh off a win. Not only fresh off a win, being the number 1 scorer in the previous weeks. Like I always said throughout the episodes, if you watch any previous ones, Team Fabo has been losing the first 3 games, but has consistently put up decent numbers. Last week was a career high here in the Crash Out League, but he has put up consistent numbers and building up week in and week out every week to get to a point where putting up a career high that led the whole league. So I think he has the potential upside to be able to go in and knock off God Bless Comerica. Now, it's not only just Team Fabo and them being consistent. If you could pay attention, God Bless Comerica is slated for 96 points, and this is the reason why.
That show us.
There's no Amari St. Brown this week.
Nope.
They're on a bye week. His
Early
wide
bye.
receiver one is on a bye week.
Yep.
And if he's on a bye week, you know who else on a bye week?
Talk to me.
His flex position that gives him major competition, Jameis Williams.
Yep.
So he's missing two big time Lion wide receivers this week that consistently gets him wins week in and week out. I think this is the perfect time to go at Coach Mike to knock him off and give him his first L.
Man, what a win that would be. That one, big time matchup, big time matchup. All right. Let's check out the rest of these games. I'm going to have to go with, man, there's a lot of really good matchups. I think you probably picked the best upset of the week, but I am going to have to go with Coach Jay Gibb knocking off Smooth Criminal. Now, both these teams are 2-2, but it's been a different kind of 2-2 for both of these teams. I like Jay Gibb in this one. There's a lot to like about Smooth Criminal, but I mean, the biggest thing is that Devon Achane and that Miami offense. It's night and day without Tua. It is night and day
Just
without
night.
Tua.
It's just night.
It's just dark. It's pure darkness.
It's just dark.
There's nothing
going on
light
over
about
there.
it. It's pure
There's
darkness.
no brain activity going on over there. No pun intended. Sorry.
Oh my God. Oh, I didn't even catch that. No. The lights are on, but nobody's inside the house. That's what we're trying to say. Oh my goodness. Hey, listen. We'll see how this one goes, but I really like your pick a lot. Team Fable could certainly give that uppercut that knocks out God bless America and sends him down to 4-1. Lucky said it in his interview. The undefeated team's got to lose eventually. So we'll see if it's this week. And with that said, right, let's go ahead. Let's get out of the fantasy realm for a little bit, man, because what are we doing this for? Because we love football. We love the NFL. And it is a blessing every single week that we get to tune in to the Thursday games, to the Sunday 12 o'clock games, wherever you're at, to the 3 o'clocks, to the Sunday night footballs, to the Monday night footballs. I mean, you got the jingle in your head right now. Dun, 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 dun. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Now, we got some pretty good games going on right now.
Ooh.
It's been good scheduling by the NFL. I'll say that. I mean, they've had some really, really good scheduling. We got 3 games here for you. Now, I do want to mention the record. 5-4 for me, 6-3 for A-Dub. I went 3-0 last week. A-Dub only picked up 1 win. That was the Cowboys versus the Giants. We also had the Vikings versus the Packers. And we had the Ravens versus the Bills. The Ravens able to knock off Buffalo. And, I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, right? But Minnesota knocks off Green Bay.
We all know that. We all didn't know
Minnesota knocks off Green Bay.
Yeah, lucky my boy need to warm up.
And Justin Jefferson grittied all the way from Minnesota to Wisconsin and back.
Don't worry about it. We'll see him later on in the season.
We'll
see him later on in the season.
Now, listen, we got 3 for you here. Check it out. Bills versus Texans. Stephon Diggs meeting his team once again in what was kind of a weird trade when it happened. I mean, we saw Stephon Diggs getting mad at Josh Allen. They weren't really able to get through that barrier that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And so we'll see some bad blood there a little bit potentially. And so could be a big-time game for Diggs and could be a big-time game for that Bills defense. Hey, they might feel slighted in some kind of way. We'll see how they come out for that one. That is Sunday at 1 p.m. Now, then we have the Cardinals versus the 49ers. That one happening at 3:05. 49ers riddled with injuries. There's a lot going on, especially on both sides of the ball. And the Cardinals, a very young, active team, but they themselves still trying to get going in a way. That Kyler Murray to Marvin Harrison Jr. connection is still trying to find its roots, and Kyler Murray's coming back from a big time injury last year, still trying to find his footing under him. So we'll see how that one goes. A lot of good matchups there. And then finally, Sunday night, man, oh man, you love to see it. If you are out on the East Coast, it is Cowboys Steelers at 8:20 p.m. Sunday night football. Cowboys, again, they've got some pieces missing as well, but they've seemed like their offense can be explosive at times and it can be flat. And so it just depends on what kind of Cowboys team you're getting. And against the Steelers on a cold night, this one could be difficult for the Cowboys. The Steelers themselves trying to figure out what they're doing on either side of the ball. But with Coach Mike Tomlin on the sidelines, it's very hard to go against them. So, A-Dub, go ahead and give me your 3 picks for these wonderful 3 games that the NFL has slated for us.
All right, start all off. We got Bills versus Texans. I'm gonna ride with the hometown city. I'm gonna ride with the Houston Texans this week. I like their defense more than I like Buffalo's defense. And I just think when it comes down to this game in particular, it's going to come down to defense. So I'm going to ride with the Texans this week.
Okay.
And then we got Cardinals versus 49ers. This is a tough game to choose from. Like you said, 49ers got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cardinals is young, and they still haven't figured themselves out. They're able to go and beat big-time teams and then lose to teams that's kind of mediocre throughout the season. So, like you said, they just trying to figure themselves out. But I think I'm just going to ride with the 49ers this week. Okay. I can't ride with a team that haven't figured themselves out going against a big-time team who's in the NFL Super Bowl championship weekend and week out every year and stuff like that. Then we got Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and Steelers. This one is a tough one because y'all know I'm big on defense, and the Steelers' defense is the Steelers. Let's be honest here.
It's dangerous.
Let's be honest here. They had a mediocre quarterback for the past I don't know how many years, and they continue to make the playoffs, all because their defense is able to make turnovers, make plays, and hold their opponents to the least amount of points that they do the whole year. But
like I said, if you don't let the offense score, they don't win the game. So so it's strong defense over there.
But I'm gonna have to go against them this week. I think the Cowboys has a high power offense going on at the moment and a very decent defense with Overshown flying all over the place there at linebacker.
Texas,
I think he gives them a lot of upside. So I'm gonna ride with them this week and just pray I don't get a phone call from my pop since he's a Steelers fan.
We'll see how that phone call goes, and we'll talk about that one on the next week. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll ride with H-Town in this one. I like the Texans here. That offense is very young, very explosive, and although Nico seems to not, we'll see what his injury status is. We certainly know that there's just a lot more weapons that the Texans have right now, and I mean, huge shout out to Josh Allen and that offense, but I think the Texans really just get the edge in this one, and they're able to come out with a win there in H-Town. And then for this one, I'm gonna go the opposite of you. I'll go with the Cardinals in this one. I do think that, like you said, they're kind of off and they're on, and they can match up well against these big teams, but against teams that are also still trying to figure themselves out, they come out flat. Nonetheless, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cardinals in this one. I think they get a big-time win. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray really flash that fact that they're starting to get that connection down. And then Cowboys versus Steelers, Sunday Night Football, prime time. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. The Cowboys are made for prime time. They always find themselves in these games. Everybody wants to watch the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, bro. All right.
Not even a little bit.
Like the most watched games are always the Cowboys, but
nobody cares because they give out times that nobody else is playing.
Nobody cares
people
about
are playing. Nobody's watching them.
You don't have to watch.
If they're playing at 1 o'clock, nobody's watching that game.
I promise you they are. I promise you they are.
Yeah, I mean Cowboys fans are, but I
No,
mean
I'll tell
nobody
you.
else
No,
is.
Tom Brady will be there, and it'll be Fox's game of the week.
Tom
It'll be
Brady
America's.
don't even like
It'll be America's
reporting y'all
game of the week.
games. It's not America's game of the week. I don't know who gave y'all that name, but they need to go ahead
Each
and
and every
go
week
to
on
jail.
Fox, when the Cowboys are on Fox, it's America's game of the week. I mean, plain and simple. Like
Y'all
that's
paid
just how it
them
goes.
to say stuff like
Nobody
that from the
pays
beginning of
nothing.
time.
Give me the
It's probably
Cowboys in
illegal
this
for them.
one. Nobody cares about the green team out in the Midwest. All they
Okay.
have is cheese. Right? Like, all right.
So, question: who walked into y'all stadium in the playoffs, put the leash on y'all, walked y'all like a dog last year?
You will never ever be able to convince me that Dan Quinn did not throw that game to go to Washington to get a head coach's salary. We've been a man
Hey,
team all year, and all of a sudden we want to run zone defense. Are you kidding me? We got Michael
I'm just
Parsons in
saying.
coverage.
I'm just
Anyways,
saying.
give me the Cowboys in this one. I like Dak Prescott's having a really good year, and although they don't have all the pieces to make what you would call a deep run into the playoffs, the Dak and CD connection is still as strong as it's ever been. I don't really see that whole contract dispute that was happening in the offseason really come into effect at this point. Last week or 2 weeks ago against the Ravens, CD talked about how he kind of had a bit of a meltdown moment, but that he doesn't see himself as that player. When you wear the 88, you got all the cameras on you. So at that point, he just wants to be as great as he possibly can. I think they're going to keep building on that connection. So Cowboys, Steelers in this one. I like the Cowboys. But hey, man, Sunday Night Football doesn't really get much better than that. So a lot of really good games. We'll see what this record looks like when we come back on this show next week. But yeah, we'll see if maybe I can overtake A-Dub on the rankings on this week.
He could try. He could try, but
Yeah, all
everybody
right.
knows how this finna go.
Yeah, all right.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in here for
Yeah,
another
man.
episode here on Crash Out League TV. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe.
Absolutely.
Really go ahead and show us some love doing that. Share it. Send it to your fellow fantasy players that you play with in other leagues and stuff like that. Hit us up. Ask us any questions about football, ball that you want to know. We can answer it for you. Once again, I'm here with my partner in crime, man. It's your boy, Dub, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in here for another episode here on the Crash Out League TV.